Greetings, everyone. Nathan Nerdarchy here from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with some nerds.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Nerdarchy Dave.
We're talking about bringing the ordinary to extraordinary with these NPCs.
Hey guys, maybe you noticed these awesome gaming shirts we're wearing. You can get your awesome gaming shirt from armorclass10.com from the description and the link below. Don't dress like an NPC. armorclass10.com.
Alright, so today we're going to talk about mundane skills or mundane tasks in D&D and how to, rev them up, pep them up.
Yeah, so we've got things like when the people want to go visit the blacksmith shop or want to blacksmith themselves. Going to a food market and like interactions with that instead of just being like, oh yeah, you buy iron rations and you're done.
Well, it could definitely be a flavor for the game, and also like interacting with those people that are doing those mundane skills is sometimes rewarding in themselves. Like sometimes, like your player characters really do just want to go haggle with the general store owner, or or maybe you have strange and odd NPCs that are kind of filling these roles for them to interact with. Or it could really just be like you kind of do this thing, the player goes there, and you're like, well, what do you do? And a little bit of role playing happens. Then next thing you know, your players want to go back to that guy every time, and he becomes a regular member of the cast.
Right. So case in point of turning skills or turning things into a little bit more fun. Your character in my game, he's all about blacksmithing. He wants to open up his own shop at some point in time, and while Ted himself, is not, super skilled at blacksmithing, I have actually, beat hot iron with a hammer on an anvil many years ago. I know you yourself, have some skill in blacksmithing, and my wife and I watch a show, Forged in Fire, which they make weapons and what have you. And it talks about blacksmithing. So you could literally take that knowledge and say, okay, well,
I'm gonna create your own D&D campaign based on a reality show where they
compete
compete to make the best swords ever.
No, what I'm saying is like
smithing emperor. Who gets to be the smithing emperor?
You can actually bring some of that real world knowledge into the actual role playing and skills and what have you. And when your player rolls poorly, oh well, it was because of this. The metal was not good, or it didn't harden properly,
and you didn't notice until the finished product. You're like,
right. So therefore you've got something to justify those numbers rather than just like, oh well, it sucks.
Well, so there's the tricky area, the gray area of doing enough of that without overdoing it and making your players want to go to sleep.
Well, yes.
Because not everybody wants a metallurgy lesson at the gaming table.
Well, yes, you have to touch lightly upon subjects and provide a little bit extra than just, okay, the sword you made is no good. Okay, well, the sword you made didn't harden, so therefore you're going to have to do more work to get it finished. Or, the alloy mixture you didn't mix right. You got to start all over again, depending upon what the role is.
Not to derail your blacksmithing video, but when I think of different NPCs doing like these mundane tasks and mundane jobs, like I think about the dwarf. Although I'd have to look at my character sheet to know his name, but he was disgraced, he was fallen, and I was able to make a connection with him during the gaming session. I don't even remember what kind of shop he was running. It might have been a blacksmith, because I know my character likes to go check those places out. That's like his thing, right? But I can't even recall what it was. I just remember the character, and he had a story, and it was interesting, and it was fun, and I got to share some of the Crathan Gold's Black Iron Special Brew with him. Which is kind of like Uthengar's, like, oh, you're all right with me, dude. Have some of this kind of deal. And that's the great part about having these characters in your world. They become cast members to the story.
You can take these moments of what would be just a blasé, I run to the market and I get this, and they have the ability to make memorable situations in a game. I couldn't tell you that character's name off the top of my head, but I remember, coming up with this guy completely on the fly, and it was a very cool role-playing scene between, you and this dwarf, and it's clearly had an impression, And it didn't need to be. Like, it could have been just, okay, well, I go and do this, and it's done, and the story continues. But it's an opportunity to have something that lasts.
And it's funny because I've actually done like this foreshadowing in my games with this mundane stuff. Like Lala Midge was buying this special, this special goat hide or fur that gets woven into yarn that she uses to make stuff with, right? Well, later on, that adventuring party, they meet the person that actually was selling it, which is this really fat, or not fat, I don't want to say,
pregnant.
Fat with baby, I should say. Very, very pregnant orc woman, that's sitting on a blanket at the marketplace, just happy, talking about her betrothed or other or whatever she called them, because there's nothing official there, but she's carrying his baby. Maybe I think it's going to be a letter personally. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll roll a die 8. Although it's a goblin orc mix, maybe a die 12. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll roll a die to see which die I roll.
For the love of random.
Yeah. But so that happens. They met this person, and they're like, oh, this is where Lala Midge probably got her stuff from. And whether it was or not, it doesn't matter. It is now. Like they've connected the dots for me. And these are very like mundane things, but my players are having fun with them. It ties them to the world. It makes it feel more real to them. Later in another campaign, that same half or orc, I keep wanting to say half orc for some reason. The same orc shows up and confronts the adventurer who allegedly is the sire of this letter, and then she gets put up at a mansion where one of their servants is going to have to help her out and take care of her, and hopefully she isn't throwing wild orc parties while they're away saving the world, essentially, right? And that's one of the stories she told when she met the other adventuring party, like, oh, my boyfriend is like so and so, and she's talking him up and how important he is, and he's going to save the world. So you can do these fun things that the players remember and they enjoy, and they're kind of like regular folks that just happen to be in your game, but they're going to draw your players in.
So it was a situation that it was initially just a throwaway line that the one player came up with, and everybody else at the table kind of bid onto it, and it was
delicious.
Without needing to do any work for me. Like I didn't have to do any extra work. I would just, every so often when the players were going back, I would get more information. And I would just start writing this stuff down. And I then took it to another thing when they went down into the Underdark, and I expanded upon the recipe by talking about the mushroom bread. And Dave took that then even further when he got into his game to actually leak the rumor that this guy is actually using powdered mushroom to make the bread. So I kind of thought that was kind of a cool thing that has gone through multiple.
And I also did like a little mystery thing in my game that involved that character, where his bakery got burned down, and then the other player, then he had to rebuild it. And I use like really regular mundane things to tie things into my players. Like I know my one player at the table is kind of a freak for cats, so I'm like, oh yeah, he's got 3 cats, and it just makes sense that a bakery would have cats hanging around looking for scraps or whatever.
Yeah, killing rodents. That's important.
Absolutely.
Major character that I play in Ted's game is a merchant who gets drug away to be a cleric on adventures, and his main objective is to be a fantastic merchant, and that's like his main drive. But now it's almost treated like his 401k plan. Like he's got merchanting in case he ever takes a really nasty arrow to the knee and has to retire from adventuring, because adventuring is just super lucrative. So he's got these different draws from the money standpoint, but he's also got in-game draws to go off and help these other people fight a great evil. So he has got these different things pulling in different directions. So immediately upon when I get back from an adventure, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going and visiting all these different people, filling out my network. And that's the thing that I do in the downtime. I have like specific things I desire to accomplish. And even while I'm on the trail, sometimes I will mention those things or be like, oh, I wonder if I can talk to this person about getting market some kind of into the market. So there's always this subset of things to talk about when not like fighting a demon or something.
Yeah, I always feel like that character is using adventuring to kind of fund those exploits, because I feel like he does those. It's not about the money; it's about the prestige and about winning over his family and proving his worth to them.
Yeah,
because you're like the seventh son.
Yeah, in an elven family, which is an embarrassment. But you're really low down on the list at that point. So yeah, the seventh son of a merchant house, a newer merchant house, and also he's a reluctant cleric in the sense that he was tapped by a nature deity to say, "Hey, I have a job for you. It's definitely you. You're the one that I want to have this to accomplish this." So for a while he fought that. So now he's kind of fighting, merchanting versus this higher goal, and the higher goal was winning out over time, which is kind of what I wanted for the character arc.
Right.
But within all of that is the trappings of dealing with these mundane tasks of talking about moving shipments and things like that, and talking with the manager of my shops and the managers of my warehouses. Well, and those are all people that I interact with.
It's also numerous times come back to your family ties as well, which again, family is very kind of ordinary and mundane, and everyone has that, right? It's not adventurous, it's not exciting. Well, it depends. Sometimes depends on your family. Let's just leave it at that. But that being said, like, even to come up like, oh, there was a black sheep cousin of your family that Ted introduced into the game,
who's in the area doing something bad.
Yeah, like, so you're like, oh, is this going to be a black mark on my family name?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be adventure. It could be really just regular mundane stuff like, oh no, he's just kind of tawdry and he's running around, carousing at night and stuff like that. Yeah. That just looks bad for you guys.
And that's a threat coming from the mundane world that's affecting my character immensely.
So it's actually a great foil that Ted introduced before the downtimes. The downtime adventure, Unearthed Arcana introduced foils.
Yes.
So those kind of things, when you have them set out there, like, they're challenges that are not just like, okay, well, I draw swords and roll initiative. Not all these things have the ability to be won and dealt with in this way. It's usually just the opposite. It's dealt with in conversations and through role-playing, to get these things out there and have more fun with it, because not everything in D&D needs to be about fighting and rolling dice.
So the question is, how are you dealing with mundane tasks and NPCs in your gaming sessions? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
While you're down there, you can check out our armorclass10.com link is in the description. Don't dress like an NPC.
Or you can hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.